everyone, it's Jenny. Welcome back to my channel. And if you're thinking, you look the same as in the last video, did you film this on the same day? Then you'll be correct, my friend. But this time I made an effort because I put on mascara for you. And if you're thinking I thought the lighting was better in the last video, that is true because I just had dinner. So, soz. But don't worry, I've had a mint just for you. It's that time of the month again, and no, I don't mean my period. It's TBR time. And I love TBRs, but I didn't make one last month because I was just basically depressed, so I didn't make any videos. And now I'm compensating with a ridiculous TBR. So for that reason, and to not make this half an hour long, because that seems to be a thing with me, I'm going to try and not talk about them very much and just give you the shorter synopsis if I even know anything about them. So let's do this. I did not get around to reading any of my Penguin mini moderns last month, so I'm going to try and read 4 minimum. So I picked Daydream and Drunkenness of a Young Lady by Clarice Lispector. I know nothing about this, I just love the title. I presume it's short stories? Yes, 3 short stories. 3 women from a giant of Brazilian literature. Excellent, so that'll be some nice translated fiction. Then we have The End by Simon Beckett, which I think is just 2, learning all the time. 2 short stories, which are obviously going to be probably absurdist in style because that was his jam. Then we've got, what do we see? We have Glittering City by Cyprian Equincy, which I think is Nigerian. Yeah, it's set in Lagos and it's just one long story. I think this is also one long story. Investigations of a Dog by Franz Kafka. I've read Kafka before, I really like him, but that was such a long time ago. I was probably about 10 years ago. And it's also just one short story. So yeah, if I read them I'll tell you more about them. But there we go, that's those. Then I have actually quite a few books that I wanted to read in the summer, and I know September's really going into autumn, but it's still quite warm, so I've got some sort of summery books in September, and this is Cider with Rosie by Laurie Lee, who I thought was a woman, but it was a man, so there you go. Everyone's an idiot sometimes. And this, I don't even really know. I think it's quite an idyllic, pastoral English village, or Cotswolds, yeah, remote Cotswolds village back in the day when everything was hazy and better apparently, and it's slightly nostalgic I think for that lost England or whatever that is, but it sounds like it's quite nice prose. It's a book I just flicked through. I've had on the bookshelf for ages. I think it's my dad's copy, and I just want to read it because it sounds nice. Then another summary book is Picnic at Hanging Rock by Joan Lindsay. There we go. This is a book I bought last year because there was a TV series coming out and I didn't watch it and didn't read this. So I've had this just every year now, would like to read this. It's set in Australia. Well, I missed that. Australia, there we go. And I think it's about a school trip for a girls' school that goes wrong when someone goes missing, and I don't know if someone dies. There's drama, basically, and I am here for the drama. So yes, roll on that. Then I have The Magic Toy Shop by Angela Carter, which I've owned for flipping ages, and I just need to read it. I know it's about a girl who has to move house at the beginning, but I really didn't know much about it apart from that. I think there's probably some magical realism in it. I don't know, but I love this cover, and I love Angela Carter, so it's gonna be good. Then I have Heartburn by Nora Ephron, which is so pretty. I don't know if you can see. It's shiny. Whoa, I love the shiny. That was weird magpie moment, sorry. This is about a woman, what's her name? Rachel, who's a cookery writer, who finds out that her husband is in love with someone else when she's awkwardly 7 months pregnant. And I think it's I don't know if it's a divorce story, but it's definitely some kind of revenge story, and it just sounds funny. So I'm here for some lightheartedness. Then I have a book that is on my 5-star TBR predictions, and that is Wives and Daughters by Elizabeth Gaskell. Because I just want to read this before October, because this was a group read last year, I think I already mentioned, and I didn't get around to reading it, which was silly. So I want this to have been read, so then at least whatever the group read is this year, I can hope to join in and not feel good that I still haven't read this. And this is conveniently got 60 chapters, so I'm going to read 2 a day. That's my plan at least, because then it's more achievable. It is, what, 800 pages? Yeah, about that. So I'm not gonna read this solidly, though actually I might, because I love Gaskell. And it's gonna be great. It's about Molly Gibson, whose father remarries quite late in her life. Well, I say late, like when she's probably like, was she 17? Yeah, which is really quite late in her life at that point. And it's about her stepsister Cynthia and like her relationship with her and her stepmother, and I love the BBC series, so I'm excited to finally read this. It could be my favourite, who knows, we shall find out. This is about two characters, Evelyn, which is the character where it's set in the Victorian period, and then Kirsten, which is set in modern day. And Evelyn is someone who looks at the psychiatric care in Victorian times and the sort of mistreatment of that after she has a breakdown. And then Kirsten is living in this place that was renovated from the hospital, or psychiatric or whatever it is, and is haunted by sort of the ghost of, I don't know if it is Evelyn specifically, but just it's all linked to the river, and I'm just really interested in it. It's super short. I'm trying to balance the short and the long books in this, hiccup, in this TBR, so at least I can get to a good amount of each. Then I have a book that I am ashamed to have not read. I haven't read his Dark Materials, and the series is coming out this year and I just want to watch it. I am going to try and read his Northern Lights, Northern Lights, this month. I'm very excited. I've heard good things about the audiobook, but I think I want to read it physically first. If you have read the audiobook, let me know if you think that's a good way of experiencing it for the first time, or if you think it needs a bit more concentration. And also, I really want to know, is the series just the Northern Lights, or do I have to read all the trilogy before the series comes out? Because it looks like it's just the Northern Lights, but I don't know, and that's not really important. Anyway, I'm excited to read this. I'm not going to go on about all this as well. I'm just excited. Then I've got one of the few, or maybe the only, non-fiction books on my TBR, and that is Lowborn by Kerry Hudson, because it's just really doing the rounds at the moment, and I feel left out that I haven't read it, and it's about her going back and reflecting on her deprived childhood and difficult upbringing, and going to the places where she lived through foster care. Kind of is an expose of the working class struggle in Britain today, so I think it'll be an eye-opening read. I'm excited. Obviously I'm excited for all of these books, that's why they're on my TBR, but you know, let me just state that again. And then like, the other book that I haven't read from my 5-star TBR prediction is The Butcher's Hook by Janet Ellis, and this again I should have read in summer because it's set in summer, but we'll ignore that. And it's a kind of a forbidden romance tale between a high class lady and a low class butcher, and what they are prepared to do to be together, which I think is slightly grisly, but I'm excited because it's set in Georgian period, which I don't read about ever really, and that'll be nice to look at a different historical time, because even though this is set in summer, I think a lot of people on Booktube really like reading historical fiction in the autumn time. It's just a cosy reading time, which is nice to really get engrossed in another world or time period. So hopefully I can get to this so I can do a kind of autumnal winter 5-star TBR prediction, but we'll see. If I don't get to this now, then whatever. Then I have some library books, and this is just really pretty, and I saw this in the bookshop and wanted to buy it because of the cover, but I'm trying to be restrained obviously about my book buying this year, so I've just got it from the library. It's Sea Monsters by Chloe Ardiges. I think she's Mexican, or at least it's definitely set in Mexico City. I can't remember what this is about, but it looks beautiful, and it'll be nice to read an author I've never heard of before. Always like discovering new authors. Then I have a book I am so excited to read, like possibly the most excited, and that is Frankie Stein by Janet Winterson, which is also longlisted for Man Booker, but regardless whether or not it's shortlisted, I just really want to read this because I flippin' love her, okay? And I've got to say, I'm not a massive fan of Frankie Stein. I think it's amazing as an achievement of what she wrote at the time period at her age, but I don't love the book. I think it has a lot of plot holes. But this is kind of looking at, I think partly at her writing it in 1816, but also about the development in AI and technology, and you have, I know, a transgender scientist who I think is developing some kind of AI people, and there's someone else who's developing like sex dolls for lonely men, so it's a lot about the threat to humanity and what happens when we are not the dominant or most intelligent race on the planet. And I'm sure it will be witty as always and just really thought-provoking as a topic. I think reinventions of classics can either be really hit or miss, so I have faith in her, but yes, I can't wait to read this one. Then I have a book that I want to do I want to do. I want to read, to join in with the read-along that Katie from Books and Things is hosting. I will link down the group below if this piques your interest, and that is Bellman and Black, A Ghost Story by Diane Setterfield, because last year we read The 13th Tale, which I love, but this sounds incredibly different, partly because it's more gothic, and I think it's about a man who, as a young boy, commits, I don't want to say a crime, but does something wrong that has repercussions later into adult life, and he has to enter into a bargain to start a business that is a bit macabre, and that helps him protect what is close to him. I don't know too much about it, but it just sounds really intriguing, and also I got the large print version because that was the only one they had in the library. Look at it, huge. So I'm gonna feel like I am flying through it, like I'm reading so many pages an hour because it's just such big print. It's really weird, and I felt guilty that I'm depriving someone who actually needs large print books of a large print book, and I don't need it, but you know, it's their loss, my gain. I'm excited. I need to stop saying that. Honestly, if you're doing shots, you be on the floor. Okay, next book is Motherhood. Sorry, I'm trying to not edit too much because I'm lazy, and just because I've got Adobe Premiere and I don't know how to use it, so the less I have to do, the better. So there might be less cuts in between. If you don't like that, please tell me. Stop rambling, Jenny. Okay, this is Motherhood by Sheila Heti, which I always think is non-fiction, but it's not non-fiction, but I think it is kind of a sort of essay-like musing about motherhood, and I think the way the narrative goes is dependent on coin tossing. It's obviously about the decision to have children or not have children, but I like that it's from a female perspective, especially with what's going on at the moment in America, particularly with all the abortion laws. I think women's right to do what she wants with her own body when it comes to having children is really being challenged at the moment. So I think this is quite a timely book to read, even though I don't live in America, and I've only heard wonderful things about it, so hopefully I can get to it soon, because this is one of the books that I bought in January. It's the only one I think I haven't read from that month that I bought, so it'd be quite nice to read it soon. If not this month, if not today, right now. Let's go. Then I have a book that's going to be my first buddy read, and I'm so excited about this, and that is with Pauline from Dancing Lawn. I will link her channel down below. She's great. She does not just books but board games too, so totally go and check her out. And this is a book I should have read ages ago, The Mermaid and Mrs. Hancock by Imogen Hermes-Gower, because I bought this when it came out, which I think is January last year, I'm pretty sure. I jumped on that hype train hard and then didn't read it, but it's definitely a contender for most beautiful book I own. I mean, look at this, look at this. Oh, you know how I feel about end papers, so, or if you don't, you do now. Love a good end paper. Damn it, cover, what's going on? So this is about a merchant who sells his master's ship, Mr. Hancock's ship, for a mermaid, allegedly, and there's a lot of talk in the town about that, and it's also about a prostitute called Angelica, who just sounds fabulous, and it's definitely going to be smutty, and I think it's going to be wonderful and a bit saucy, and it's just historical fiction, which I think again is set in Georgian period, so, or definitely the 18th century, so I'm departing from my norm here, which is nice. Branching out, if you will. Another book that's been longlisted for Mabika, which again, I don't care if it isn't shortlisted, I really want to read this, I bought this in May, is Lost Children Archive by Valeria Luiselli. I had a go, everyone. Look, I rolled my R's and everything. I can't remember too much about this, but it's just been so highly praised, and I think it's a kind of migrant story of children from Mexico trying to get to America and the struggle all about immigration in that country, and I can't wait for this. Oh, and I also, even though I haven't read it yet, I kind of hope it is shortlisted, because it wasn't shortlisted for the Women's Prize, but it was longlisted, and I thought, wouldn't that be really sad to get longlisted twice and not even get shortlisted? And then last but not least, and I don't even know how long this is, I want to reread Harry Potter, because I got this illustrated edition and I haven't read it yet. And do you know what? It's been flipping ages since I read Harry Potter, and I love Harry Potter. I will fully admit they are not the best written books ever. They have plot holes, but I don't care because I have so much nostalgia, and I do think the world building is relatively solid despite the plot holes. It's pretty good, and I think this will be such a fun way to experience it again with these beautiful illustrations where I find one. Okay. There's Hagrid. Oh, I'm so excited because I know I've forgotten things because it's genuinely been years since I've read one, which is ridiculous. And I will probably just spend all of Sunday rereading this, and I'm pumped for it, you guys. I'm so pumped. So yeah, ending on a high note there. Oh, the books are falling everywhere. Stay still. Yes. Do you have a TBR? I would love to know. / link me the video. Let's be friends. And I will see you soon for Bookish Shenanigans. Bye!